You're asking B12 is 3 times higher. Okay. B12, there is no high number for B12. It's okay if B12 is high. Right. B12 being low is a problem. Oh, that way. Yes. Okay. All right. For that, you have to measure not B12. You have to measure folate. Folate. You have to measure serum folate. B12 has no implication on that. Yeah, that's you look at folate to look at if a person is methylating the folate. See, the folic acid is lipid soluble vitamin, right? So the tissues in the brain. Okay, let me backtrack. I am going to be talking about methylation, and I'm going to be talking about the B vitamins are soluble and what part needs to be lipid soluble. The membranes in the brain and in the immune system, they are lipid membranes, right? Fat membranes, and water and oil don't mix. So in order for the body to provide certain B vitamins, including folate and B12, which is very important for the brain development and for the immune system development, the body has to convert. The body has all the mechanisms already. So the body has to convert your folate to what is called as methyl tetrahydrofolate. So the methyl tetrahydrofolate requires an enzyme where folate is converted to methyl tetrahydrofolate. And many children and adults are born with a deletion of the whole enzyme or part of the enzyme. So the body cannot convert the folate into L5-MTHF, and the active folate is not provided to the brain and to the immune system, which weakens them. So then you have this genetic makeup, and then you end up with infections, right? Your detoxification capacity goes down. And that is why it becomes important to look at that. I will be talking about methylation. It becomes important to look at that so you can help your patients recover, especially children. Methylcobalamin, then there is adenosyl 12, then there is hydroxy B12. So methyl B12, adeno B12, and hydroxy B12. It all depends on the person's genetic makeup, that which B12 would be appropriate. Right? Often there can be many genetic mutations, not just the MTHFR. The MTHFR is one. You can have CBS, you can have MTRR. This is the entire. Sorry, this is the entire methylation cycle that goes on in every cell in the human body. So it is important to see where the mutations are, and where. And not just where they are, but also to prioritize. This whole game, right? This whole complicated conundrum of borreliosis and co-infections and autism and mold. It's all a juggling scenario where the physician skill comes in when the physician knows what to prioritize. Like I said, sometimes you don't have to treat Lyme first. You cannot treat Lyme first. The body will give you crazy Herxheimer reactions. I have a 14-year-old girl who was home from school. She had to leave high school. She lives in Princeton, New Jersey. She was home in the bed with stage 3 Lyme disease, not able to do much, right? She couldn't even go to school. She didn't feel like eating. And she came to me, she's doing really well now, by the way. She's back in school, she's a senior, she's back on the track team even, right? So she came and we started her. Now she wanted to do only herbals, right? And she had acute Lyme, but she only wanted to do herbals. So we did Buhner herbals, we did biologicals, and she went up to 60 drops, 60, full dose, 3 times a day of 11 herbs, and she recovered really well, right? Then, this little girl, fragile little girl, she did fantastic. Then I have a patient who is 6'4", 200 pounds, very athletic, and 2 drops was killing him. Oh my God, Dr. Dashore, I can't move. This hurts and that hurts. So I'm like, what's going on, David? He's like, I can't. How many drops are you doing? Did you increase to 60 straight away? No. I'm only doing 2. Because I usually have my patients start slow, like start with 1 drop, wait for a few days, then add 1 more, So it's just so individual. So for David, it was important to treat other things first that I outlined before attempting to treat borreliosis, which is what we did. We did the gut, we did his endocrine system, and then for Grayson, it was important to go straight for the Lyme and co-infections, and we did, and she did fantastic. We are still addressing the other things in her. She's not 100%, she's about 95, but that's good enough for her. She's ready to go to college. She's going to graduate high school. She's getting straight A's from failing. She's getting straight A's again. So hopefully she wants to get into Princeton University, so she'll get in. So we are hoping on that. But yeah, so every patient is very different. Okay, that's about it. So oh, lunch is not 12:30? Oh, really? Okay. I thought it was 12:30. My bad. Oh, that's tomorrow. Ah, that's why. Okay, I got a little, okay. All right, so you, let's see. Let me go back to seeing what can we, because, no, I think we are good. Yeah, I think we are good actually. We don't need to, if you guys want to, is it okay to go ahead for lunch now? We are good as far as lectures go, or if you, yeah. She wanted me to meet people and all that, right? We can do that. Yes.
Question.
Yes.
The French health minister has just obliged all school children to take 11 vaccines, or they won't be eligible for school. What do you feel about this policy? And are you comfortable that MMR does not cause autism, and that hepatitis B vaccines do not cause multiple sclerosis?
My position on vaccines is, if a patient comes to me, should I vaccinate my child? I say no. That is my position. And the French minister, has needs to say. We have many ministers in the United States that say the same thing. There are not ministers, there are public officials, the various societies. That is a very individual decision. There are many scenarios that come into play. One is nowadays there are compounding pharmacies that are making vaccines available without thimerosal. And there are compounding pharmacies that are making vaccines available without the common irritants in it, the allergies, or if there is any kind of allergens in the vaccine. So that is being made available in the US. Then the compounding pharmacies are also able to break up the vaccination, MMR together versus just doing the M, and then the R, getting appropriate amount of time. For some people, for some children, the fact that all these vaccines are given together is the issue. So for those children who have parents that choose to vaccinate, the advice that I would give, you have already made, you're going to vaccinate your child, okay, I have to respect that. But these are the options available to you, without preservative, without thimerosal, break it up, wait enough time. But as far as this whole vaccine controversy goes, I don't get into the political. If you're my patient, I will take care of you and I'll give you advice. But I don't make general, broad statements. To each his own.
I don't understand. Are you saying you're not sure that MMR causes what the hepatitis B causes multiple sclerosis?
Were you able to understand the explanation I gave? Or are you just looking for a yes or no answer?
Yeah, for your personal opinion, are you comfortable that
Right.
maladies are not caused by vaccines?
I don't have any stand on that. I don't want to get into the politics of it. Sorry, no. I don't answer questions as such. It's just every patient is individual. And like I said, if you had a child who was my patient and you would ask me, should I vaccinate? I will say no. Do I think my child received a vaccine injury? Yes. Okay. Have I seen many children in my practice that have been injured by vaccines? Yes. We have a lot of research papers that have not been written by me, but have been written by well-known doctors, and they've been a lot of controversy about that. So it's not something that is worth getting into for me. I just look at each individual patient. I don't have any broad views. I'm not militant. I'm not an activist in any shape or form. I'm just a teacher and a healer. So if you have vaccine injury, I can help you. I don't have any stand. Now, why is it that you asked me this question?
I'm very suspicious of Big Pharma.
Yes, we all should be.
And there has been very controversial work and research in laboratory, which argues both sides of those two stories.
I present at Autism One every year. Autism One International is the largest autism conference on the planet. I speak at Autism every year. Next year in Chicago, I have 5 lectures. And vaccination is not my forte. There are many good speakers. Like this year, I was with Senator Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and he speaks very eloquently about vaccines and this whole controversy, the hidden truth, what has been hidden, the statistics and whatnot. So that is what activists do. Physicians, healers, we just heal, we help. And actually, I do have many parents that are sometimes forced into the decision. I'm facing the same thing with my son right now. He's supposed to go for rounds, and he's the top student in his pre-med class. He's supposed to go for rounds to the local hospital to learn, and they have this whole list of vaccines that have to be done before he's allowed to learn. So we have lawyers involved, and what are you going to do? But I won. But I'm a physician, so I know how to argue my case. And plus, he has pandas. He has stage 3 Lyme. You give vaccines to a child that has an immune deficiency. You can't. So they cannot force my hand. I don't know why it is so hard for these people to understand. When there is an immune deficiency, how can you vaccinate a child? So I cannot, but what they're going to do is they're going to force my son to wear a mask. So you know what? I'm like, whatever. It's fine, because it's going to work for your protection as well, because it's a hospital. There's a lot of iatrogenic infections. So we're just going with the flow. But there is discrimination everywhere. I have patients that say, at work, if I don't take the flu vaccine, I'll be fired. So what do you do? These are ethical dilemmas where you have to let the patient make their own choices. You educate them. And then I have the really involved patients that will leave the job, become self-employed. They'll say there's a really great guy on Facebook. Last name is Birkenmeyer. Amazing guy. He's an entrepreneur, and he talks against big pharma, and he's absolutely thriving, great business, in great shape, good health, and he always talks about ways to beat the big pharma. It's very interesting. So there are many activists out there, but yeah, it's a shame. Each patient that gets cancer is a $2.5 million mill for the institutions. Each patient that gets what's the other one? New Jersey has 1 in 58 boys that are autistic. That's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. When I was growing up in Mumbai, we had maybe, looking back, hindsight, of course, we had cerebral palsy, we had polio, we had leprosy, we had mental retardation kids, but we didn't have any autism. I'm sure a few were autistic, but right now it's an epidemic. I see patients via Skype from India. It's an epidemic. As soon as McDonald's started, McDonald's and KFC and all of this junk food in India, it's been exploding. It's a huge epidemic with autism in India. They don't have any major treatments. All they have is stem cells, stem cells, stem cells. It's a crazy amount of money. And if it is complex autism, then I've got parents that sell their homes, sell everything. They go for this stem cell transplants. It doesn't work. Stem cells are wonderful, when used at the right time. If you have inflammation, if you have all these other things going on, you're just wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars on, treatments that are fantastic, but maybe it's not the right time. So then on the other hand, I have one patient with lupus. That's the same guy I mentioned earlier, right? So we cleaned him out. We reduced the inflammation, we fixed his gut, we killed off all the infections, all naturally, and now he is ready for stem cells. And that is probably going to be about neuronal healing for him. Stem cells are amazing, but if done at the right time, that is the key. So, so we'll break for lunch now. Have a good break, and we'll see you in about an hour.